Goodwill number change?
It should. So you should start with 100 and say you amortize 10 in a month, then there should be 90. It's just like two ways. Okay. Say you have $1 million building on your balance sheet and you start amortizing it. Let's say you amortize it $100,000 a year, so you're saying it's a 10-year building. At the end of year one, the first fully you amortize, you'll have $1 million building, $1 million or $100,000 depreciation, and depending on how you account for it on your balance sheet, it'll either be a $900,000 net PP&E, property, something and equipment, or it'll be $1 million with a negative account on your balance sheet for the depreciation, and then that'll all net out at the bottom. So if you think about like your car, simple, like you can, every year that your car drops in value, essentially the depreciation is made to account for the value you lost in that year by owning the car. Go for it.
If you don't mind. So I'm looking at these two models that I did, and I think, so the first one is a C Corp, and it was a stock purchase. So my Goodwill was, just call it $500,000, but there was no amortization. So my Goodwill just sat at $500,000 on my balance sheet. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, so I think I have an error then in my model.
But I would also say, Noel, I think about models differently. So when I first started 12 years ago, I thought getting to an exact answer was the only thing that mattered. I was chasing the Wall Street guys. How can I be as good as that Bank of America analyst? Yada, yada, yada. The engineer in me, get it exact. 12 years into this, I always quantify how big of an impact will this inaccuracy, right, affect the answer that I care about. Meaning, Goodwill on amortization of $500,000 may or may not have a significant enough impact on cash flow for you to want to build it in. If you think about it on opposite ends, on one end, you could have a spreadsheet with infinite numbers that would take into every assumption and up and down in a business. And you could have one model that's super simple and has 3 inputs. You're going to be somewhere in the middle. So I would encourage you guys to give yourself some grace and find something that works for you. On $500,000 of Goodwill, though, 10-year depreciation, I mean, that's $50K a year. So you just got to figure out, is that significant enough to model it in?
So if you don't mind, I'm going to keep asking questions, because in my second LOI, my Goodwill was $2.9 million. So I amortized it over 15 years, which I thought was the rule of thumb. So it was $193,000 a year, which then it was impactful to my cash flow.
That's right. That's right. And so accountants would know exactly what the sort of life of these assets are. So, Noel, maybe we take the Goodwill thing offline, and I'll show you a simple way to kind of pull it out.
Yeah, okay.
Because it runs through all the statements.